Mind is the master power that molds and shapes, and man is mind, and nevermore he takes. The tool of thought, shaping what he wills, bringing forth 1,000 joys, 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. Man, we're about to get into that, where that powerful poem came from, which is As a Man Thinketh. Welcome to Raw Success Book Review. Let's get it. Peace and power. So, As a Man Thinketh, published in the early 1900s, 1902 to be exact. Isn't that crazy? In 1900, this powerful book was written that changed the course of many people's lives. James Allen, the author of this book, this little tiny book, powerful though, don't sleep, is considered to be one of the pioneers of the personal development thought movement. When this book was written, people were getting paid about $480 a year. Isn't that, like, think about that. I think it, it came up to like 37 cents an hour. And what's so cool about James Allen's story, he was a secretary or something like that, receptionist. When he wrote this book, he sold so many copies that he was actually able to quit his job and pursue his dream, which was to write. Just like here in Raw Success, we discuss principles, right? Personal development principles, only that are battle tested, that you and I in some way have experienced and applied. So the same for As a Man Thinketh. As a matter of fact, and I quote, James Allen's wife said, he never wrote theories or for the sake of writing, but he wrote when he had a message, and it became a message only when he had lived it out in his own life and knew that it was good. Thus, he wrote facts, which he had proven by practice. Wow. To me, just makes it, because, you got a lot of people out here, all they're really doing is just writing, and they're just regurgitating stuff that other people wrote. Mm-hmm. Just keep it a buck, right?
100%.
But this was battle tested by the author, which to me just makes it more powerful and impactful and makes me trust in the information even more. One thing that I got from the books is thoughts equals actions, and those actions equal your results. And ultimately, those results are your life, or is your life.
Yes.
So that to me was one of the main points. If you get anything from this book review, is that your thoughts equals actions, your actions equal results, and the results equals your life. However, thoughts, as random as they may seem, could be directed. In Buddhism, they equate thinking or the mind to a monkey, because, the monkey's like goes crazy, chaotic, right? We have the ability to direct our thoughts in an intelligent way and use that intelligence to mold and shape and design our life in a certain way. What do you say, brother?
No, 100%. I mean, it's first definitely great introduction to the book.
Thank you.
This book was a game changer for so many, me included. And just the message of it all starts in the mind. One thing that he mentions is, it starts in the mind, and that goes to habit. Habit goes to just the outcome.
Indeed.
So that's just something to just carry on all the time. Another part that stuck out to me in this book, which I'm sure we'll get to, is that as a man, you are the leader of your household. This isn't to go man or woman or any type of roles like that, but yes, this is, as he quotes in this book. But that's twofold, okay? Because even if, as man, if your mind is negative, it's going to reciprocate within the household, So thoughts are things, but it goes both ways. So you have to put those positive thoughts and positive attributes out there. So that was just one of the key points of this book that really stuck out.
Yeah, indeed. And, and as we change those thoughts, we can change our circumstances.
Yes.
And I love the analogy that he uses. He talks about a garden, right? So when a garden is not attended to, it's not cultivated. And I don't know anything about gardening. I just want to say, right? Because we keep it real here. But this is the example that James Allen used. When a garden is cultivated and it's nurtured, right? You can see the beauty of it. You can see the fruits. You can see the vegetables, the flowers, everything organized, nice. But when it's not and just allowed to run wild, then nothing but weeds, and it doesn't look nice. Nothing productive, nothing that you can use grows. And I love how he uses that analogy to compare the mind and how we can cultivate the mind to bring fruits, to bring which is positive results in our lives.
Yes, 100%.
And one thing that I also appreciate about the book, it's not like this mystical thing. Like, he talks about taking responsibility for your life.
100%.
And it just starts with cultivating your thoughts, which will eventually lead to cultivating your character and your behaviors and eventually your results and habits, as you mentioned.
Yes. Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that, because that was one of the key things that I got from the book is the message of accountability.
Absolutely.
I definitely got that from the book. Another part of the book that stands out is when he's mentioning health.
Oh, yes.
And diet. And he says, you can have the best diet, but if your thoughts aren't pure, if you don't have healthy thoughts, if you don't have the joy, that diet isn't going to bring good health.
Right. I once heard someone say that it's better to have a poor diet and a positive mind opposed to a rich diet and a negative mind, because of the power of the mind and its effect on the body.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm not recommending that you can eat whatever you want and just think positive. Obviously, be like he says in the book, direct your thought, your mind in an intelligent manner. The best is to have positive thoughts and a rich, positive diet, obviously.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. Another thing for me that stood out is the law. I don't think he calls it the law. I'm calling it the law. But he talks about cause and effect. And I appreciate that, because I think that something that's like a plague to the person is this victim mentality. And I get it. Things happen to people, and some things we don't have any control over. I will also say and advise that if you look into your life like a miner looking for gold, and he uses that example as well, you'll find instances within yourself where the roots started at your thoughts, or started in your thoughts, which then eventually led to behavior. And if you remember the poem that I opened up with, he says, man thinks in secret and it comes to pass. So we really have to be watchful of our thoughts. A thought of self-doubt can be so subtle that you may not even notice it, but it's directing your behavior. We have a video where Mack talks about how he was promoted to management and how fear set in, but willfully he had more thoughts of courage, which allowed him to take advantage of those opportunities. So good thoughts bear good fruit. Bad thoughts bear bad fruit. How? Because again, remember, thoughts equals actions, and actions equal results.
Yes. So when he talks about fear within the book, I think that resonated a lot, and it resonate with, I guess, a lot of the viewers as well, because that's the big stumbling block that people have, and that's the wall that people reach. And he talks about just tackling that fear through positive thinking.
Right.
You know, so that's another reason why I think this book is highly recommended and and is doing as well as it's done, because that is an obstacle that we all face.
Absolutely. And it's natural to be fearful, right? However, if we all look in our lives, again, like you're mining for gold, like reflect, look within, you will discover for yourself also that most of the fears that we have are mental.
100%. Absolutely.
They're not like, there's real fear, like danger presented itself, but most of the stuff are mental. I mean, not you and I, most people don't even allow the thing to happen. They get so caught up with the thing happening in their head that they allow that to limit them or stop them from taking advantage of opportunities or proceeding forward. And it happens to the best of us, but you just gotta program yourself with books like this, As a Man Thinketh.
Like they say, fear stands for false expectations appearing real.
Right. And so one thing that helps me, I don't know what helps you. One thing that helps me is when I have a self-limiting or self-doubt or fearful thought, I say to myself, okay, if this happens, what's the worst case scenario if this happens? And I plan for that. So I would say, if anything, at the very bare minimum, let's get rid of fearful thoughts. However, if you still have them, maybe that suggestion will help you with your fearful thoughts. Just, okay, if it happens, so what? What do you do? Okay, you want to ask your boss for a raise. He says no. Okay, so what? I'll tell you something that I did, and I'm not recommending everybody do this. This is what I did to program my mind for courage. I went skydiving, right? It was on my bucket list, but it was also, I'm intentional about a lot of stuff. There's rarely something I just do. There's always multiple meanings behind my actions. So now, okay, why did I go skydiving? What does that have to do with anything? I use that reference, skydiving, with every fearful thought that I have. So, for example, starting this podcast with my brother. Yeah, self-doubt kicked in, fearful, right? Okay, bruh, you jumped out of a plane. Can anything worse happen than that parachute not opening? You know what I'm saying? So I have a psychological reference because I did it. I have a physiological reference because the body experiences things, it thinks also. And I also have the memory. So it's a triple form, triple stage, triple dimensional courage wall to protect me from my own self-doubt and fear. I always go back to that. Okay, if this happens, well, is that worse than the parachute not opening? And you did that. So again, as a man thinketh, use your own mind, use the references, use your own thoughts to direct you towards whatever it is that you want to accomplish in life. Something else that I love about the book, it speaks about the law of attraction. Again, and not from a mystical, up in the sky, don't do nothing, and just, all I have to do is just think good thoughts. No, he talks about you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And I just like, wow. Because you look at people that you may label them negative. You may label them negative for whatever reason, and some people just are negative based on our standards and opinions and perspectives of society. But he also mentions just because they may be negative, it doesn't mean they don't have any good.
Yes.
Or doesn't have any thought directing ideals that allow them to accomplish whatever it is. Like, for example, I think scamming innocent people is horrible, right? But those people may still be savvy with finances. They still may stay in tune with what's going on in the marketplace. While somebody like, who may be more like a Mother Teresa type, just to use as a quick reference, may not be paying attention to finances. So it's not that the person who is quote unquote negative is lucky, they're just in tune with finances.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that too, because as you mentioned earlier, this book was written in 1902. And that thought, when he talks about that in this book, I have that section, paragraph all throughout, because we often think that you have only, not we, but just people in general, it seems like.
Maybe once upon a time.
Yeah, they often think that, to this day, that only the crooked succeed, or to make it to a particular level, you have to, just be part of the Illuminati or just something negative to reaching your financial goals.
Right.
And when he mentions that, like, yes, the bad people, the people that have negative thoughts, that isn't all of them. That's not the totality of that person. That person might have some positive attributes as well, which help them reach that. So yes, no, that was a great point in this book as well.
Yeah.
So,
and I've been on the other end of that, where I was like, not that I'm perfect by no means, but I'm like, damn, why is that happening to me? Like, yo, I do good. I help people, like, you know what I mean? And I wonder, like, why are things happening to me? It's all back to the thoughts that we're having and the actions. And sometimes life just happens. 100%, and it's about how we deal with it. Right? What I love about this book, which I think just provides like just hope, for lack of a better word, is he talks about, like, you may not be able to control your circumstance, or the circumstance that you were born into, but you can control your thoughts. And because you can control your thoughts, you can indirectly change your circumstance.
Yep, absolutely.
So, pardon. So wherever you are in life, and you might be like, man, I didn't ask to be raised in a single parent household. I didn't ask to, be raised in a poor household. Whatever it is, you can change your circumstance, just by changing your thinking and obviously actions and so forth.
Yes. Yeah. And he's honest in revealing that it's going to take habit. It's going to take you having to constantly putting those positive thoughts into your mind. It's not immediately that you'll just become positive. If you have the habit of thinking negatively and being pessimistic versus optimistic, it can change, but it's going to change gradual with you constantly putting positive thoughts into your mind.
Absolutely. That's right. And having that alter your behavior, ultimately. It's all about the actions. I know you referenced the body and the effect that the thoughts have on our body. Just wanted to give some reference to that. Joe Dispenza, he has a book called, that book is called Evolve Your Brain. And he scientifically proved how thoughts affect our body for real. Like, not only in a destructive way, but you can also heal your body. For in that book, it scientifically proves, and I'm referencing scientifically proved just for any doubters out there about the power of the mind, how just by visualizing and rehearsing, something in your mind. I mean, he uses examples of how people who, let's say, just rehearse playing the piano, and how, like, what it does to the body neurologically and physically. So, just again to reference, the mind and body connection, it's powerful. This isn't no pie in the sky stuff. This is like powerful stuff and backed by science, like real science. Yes. So check out Joe Dispenza. I think I'm saying his name right. Joe Dispenza, book, Evolve Your Brain. It's a phenomenal book, and we'll do a book review on that one as well. Lastly, I want to also talk about the fact that, this book for me, it's just hopeful. It's about being responsible for your life. He says concentration of thought centered around a purpose and the benefits of failing while not quitting, and how that builds your character and prepares you for the next level. So, again, it's not just about sitting there thinking and imagining, but also developing your character yourself through failing and just not quitting. But remember, it's development of character. So this stuff is not just happening. How does the saying goes? You grow through what you go through. So you're growing, you know, as you have these thoughts, and you have these actions, and life is happening, and you're responding based on your goals and developing your character, so that now you can deal with bigger fails, basically better feedback and so forth. I mean, it's just a powerful message. Yeah. He even goes off to say that that dreams are ceilings of reality, but you can't travel within without doing the work. So, as we wrap up this book review, just be mindful, be watchful of your thoughts, and ask yourself, are they leading you towards the life that you want to live? Because ultimately, it all starts with our thoughts. Peace and power.